Hello and welcome back to Life's Biggest Questions. I'm Ron Mackenzie Lafergie. Zombies have seen an enormous surge in popularity in the last decade, with countless zombie films, shows, and games being released each year. This zombie craze has left many thinking about the idea of a zombie apocalypse. What would you do? Where would you go? How would you remain safe? These are mysteries we will solve as we attempt to answer the question, how could you survive a zombie apocalypse? Should a zombie apocalypse happen, one important factor to keep in mind is the question of how the outbreak spreads. If it spreads solely by contact, like bites or scratches, you'll likely want to wear some sort of body armor to prevent accidental injuries. If it's airborne, you'll want to cover your nose and mouth and move to lower populated areas. Until more is known, it's best to cover your bases and assume that you can become infected in any way. Better safe than sorry. You'll definitely want to educate yourself on the strengths and weaknesses of the zombies as well. Can they go out in the sun? Are they slow or fast zombies? How are their senses? Have any of their senses been dulled? Possibly improved? These are some of the first questions you need to ask when it comes to dealing directly with the zombies. Knowing your enemy is crucial, and our brains would be our main advantage against the zombie horde. Once you know what you're dealing with, you're gonna need supplies, and fast. In the event of a crisis like this, all the survivors would be looking to gather supplies. If you want to survive, you'll need to get your hands on food and clean water before moving on with other plans. Otherwise, it may be difficult to find it, either due to scarcity or zombie presence. Once you have enough supplies, you'll probably want to move to areas with low population, as said earlier. The reasoning behind this is rather clear. The fewer people live in a place, the fewer zombies would be there. Bonus points if you move to a place that's difficult to access, like a mountain or an island, which would likely prevent zombies from ever reaching you. This would also aid you if the outbreak was due to an airborne virus, since you would want to be as far from other people as possible. Once you've found a location you wish to settle, it's time to build defenses. You don't want to spend every waking hour patrolling and living in fear of attack. This can be done with things like moats or bridges, or you can even, as President Trump would suggest, build a wall. Anything that would keep zombies out will of course help you to survive. You'll also want to remain in the open when scavenging. One mistake we often see people make in zombie movies is entering an enclosed space, and 90% of the time, the space is either a bar or a grocery store. But don't do that if you can avoid it. Zombies, particularly slow zombies, depend on their vast numbers and cornering people in order to be successful. You want to stay out in the open with many routes available, and preferably with friends. And weapons. Lots and lots of weapons. Speaking of weapons, there are certain weapons that would be best suited for dealing with a zombie apocalypse. Obviously, a gun will be a good choice, but in times when ammo will be in short supply, melee weapons and arrow-based weapons would be ideal, since a club doesn't use ammo, and a crossbow allows you to retrieve your arrows. For melee, many experts believe that you would be best off with some sort of axe or blunt weapon, since it could be tricky to maintain the blade of a sword. In terms of ranged weapons, a bow or crossbow would be quite effective, both in terms of ammo conservation and in terms of silent fire. Although in a pinch, a machine gun might be just what you need. Just don't expect to get headshots like in Walking Dead. That's just ridiculous. Finally, you're probably going to need some friends. Life can be tough on your own, and you'll want to have some people you can depend on to protect you against zombies and other humans. But be careful. With such limited resources, even the best people can do things they normally wouldn't. You may want to keep your group small, only with those you totally trust. As we've seen in certain post-apocalyptic settings, large groups can lead to infighting and even betrayal. Now you may be thinking, that's all well and good, but what can I do to prepare right now? Well, there are certain resources you can use to further research this. First, you can watch Zombieland. Zombieland is excellent researching material because A, it goes into nice details about various important aspects of zombie survival, like cardio, the double tap, and don't be a hero, and B, because it's hilarious. After Zombieland, watch Kingpin. Not because it'll help with the zombies, Woody Harrelson and Bill Murray just rock. But I digress. You can also start gathering supplies now. Stock up on canned goods and water, get a big powerful vehicle, grab some weapons, and make sure you're prepared to leave with little notice. If you're really worried, you can move to a secluded area ahead of time. If you live alone on an island, your chances of being bitten by a zombie are rather slim. Of course, it goes without saying that this is hypothetical, since the odds of a zombie apocalypse are rather slim to say the least. So now we return to our question. How could you survive a zombie apocalypse? Well, you'll want to make sure you have plenty of supplies and get someplace safe. Learn what you can about the zombies and the infection itself, and use this information to your advantage. Find somewhere secluded, defend your position, and wait for word on scientific developments. Find some friends, but make sure you can trust them, because they will have plenty of opportunities to turn on you. And when in doubt, double tap. Thank you for watching Life's Biggest Questions. I hope this was interesting, informative, and hasn't made you too paranoid about the future. If you enjoyed this video, please throw us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel down below. While you're down there, let us know your favorite zombie survival tips. Until next time, I'm Ron Mackenzie Lafergie with Life's Biggest Questions, wishing you the best of luck on your quest for answers.